Thank you so much for being here to share your story, Natalie. I'm so excited to share this conversation with people.
Yes, of course. I'm so happy to be here finally.
Yes, finally. Yes. Well, why don't you just introduce yourself to the people listening and share a bit about your illness journey and how things got to their worst, what things were like for you when you were at your worst, and how things got to that point for you.
Yeah. So I guess, my story starts like pretty young because I had digestive issues. I guess as a baby, they said I was lactose intolerant, and then I was diagnosed with IBS, and they just kind of always said, like, oh, she has a sensitive stomach. And that was like a huge stressor for me growing up because it was just like every morning I would have like really bad IBS symptoms. My stomach always hurt. And I would be taken to the pediatrician and they would just like not do anything about it. They just kind of like, I don't know, IBS is also just a really silly diagnosis because it's just like symptom based. And then that kind of stuck with me throughout my whole you know, elementary school, middle school, and then high school is when I kind of started to get some of these like dysautonomia symptoms. So I would wake up in the morning and be like super nauseous. I had really bad fatigue. I started to get like the hot flashes and like flushing. And I would go to the doctor and I kind of like would, I don't know, I guess like having the IBS diagnosis and just like, I guess my personality, they said that it was probably just like anxiety because, I feel like everyone's always like told that it's anxiety when they're having all of these symptoms, especially when you're like a 15-year-old, 16-year-old girl. And then, but what was confusing to me was like I would get these symptoms just so randomly. So like I remember one time it happened to me like at the movie theaters when I was with my friends, and I would get like that hot flash and like the heart palpitations and um I remember my senior year of high school is when I started getting like the pre-syncope. So I started fainting and I started having like just dizziness all the time and it would like last for weeks and then it would go away. And then trying to think what else. I think I would go back to the pediatrician and they would just like validate my symptoms, but they wouldn't really like I don't know. They just didn't do anything about it. They were just like, it's normal to faint sometimes. It's normal to have dizziness. I think I went to an ENT and they were like, there's nothing wrong with your inner ear. You don't have vertigo. But I just like knew something wasn't right. And then time went on. I graduated high school and I started university. And this is when I got like a bunch of infections in a really short time frame. It was like 3 months, I got like four different types of infections, and I was on a bunch of different antibiotics. And at that point, I had like the dizziness every day. I was having all of the, POTS, heart palpitations. And I was like, I can't, like, has to be something seriously wrong with me. Again, like my stomach still hurt every day. It was just like nothing.
Oh, hang on, Natalie, your sound went out, I think. Can you say something again?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, now it's back. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. Should I just start like
Yeah, just you had got all these infections in a short period of time. You were having dizziness every day. Just start from there.
Okay, so I had all of these infections, um, and then so I had to drop out of university and just like move back home with my parents, and I started going to a million different doctors and playing that game of trying to figure out like I have all these symptoms, but like who do I see? Because it was literally like just so many symptoms. Obviously, like POTS and dysautonomia can cause like any symptom in the body, honestly. And this was also pre-COVID, so nobody knew like I didn't know I've never heard of like a post-viral syndrome. I never heard of POTS. I never heard of like any of these weird autoimmune. I only knew of like lupus, but that was it. So I went to all these specialists and doctors and they validated my symptoms, but they never like said what like was going on. And it wasn't until my next door neighbor actually he was internist and I like went to his house one day with my parents and we were like something's wrong but like I don't know what's wrong with me and he told me to see like a colleague in the hospital he worked at who is an electrophysiologist, which is like a special type of cardiologist, I believe. They do like heart rhythm disorders, but they also treat like POTS and dysautonomia, or they know about it. And so I saw this electrophysiologist, and all he had to do was test like my blood pressure and my heart rate, like sitting down, standing up, and he was like, "Yeah, you definitely have some type of autonomic dysfunction." He asked me if I had like any viruses or infections in the past, like my activity levels. And of course, like there's medications for POTS, like there's, the beta blockers, and like he told me to increase exercise. And again, this was pre-COVID, so I still was like, I couldn't find anyone like on the internet who really had POTS. There might have been like a couple, like two people I found. I wish I found like you or Mary or someone, but I just like I didn't really understand like what was going on, even though like I had this diagnosis. And so I decided to go the functional medicine route after that, and they did all the functional testing, and of course, everything came back. Like I had Epstein-Barr, I had SIBO, I'm pretty sure I had Candida also, I had like high liver enzymes, like low ferritin, like everything like came back. Like, yeah, there's obviously a lot of like disbalance in your body. And so I worked with the naturopath for a while, but I still never felt like well, even though I was doing like the SIBO treatments, like the antimicrobials. It just like didn't touch anything. I did antibiotics for SIBO also. The pod symptoms like got better, but they just like came back again. So yeah, I still was like trying to like do the supplements they were giving me, but I never felt like actual wellness really. And then it was around this time last year I graduated university and I just had a really like my last year was just really stressful for me and I just started getting like hot symptoms and the dizziness again and I would like wake up in the middle of the night with like these dumps of adrenaline. I started like getting pre-syncope again. I also found out I had a heart murmur. And then I found out I had a valve prolapse, which I don't really know if that like indicated a connective tissue, something going on. But yeah, I just got really, really sick like this time last year. And I think one of the biggest things was like the fatigue. I started like my whole body started feeling really heavy. Like my limbs, my legs started getting heavy. I had awful neuropathy, and I just like pretty much became couch bound.
Mm.
I didn't do anything. I couldn't. Everyone was like, "Are you looking for jobs?" It was like right after I graduated. I was like, I literally feel like I'm gonna just like drop dead one of these days. Yeah. So yeah, that was my worst. And then I found you pretty soon into that. You just came up on my
Yeah.
TikTok feed, and it was your video about dysautonomia, which is funny. And I just knew like I didn't really want to go back to like functional medicine because I feel like I tried so many things. I was so tired of like taking supplements. And I mean, I did have medication like for my heart, but I never like I was just felt so like malaised and sick. And another thing is like the POTS cardiologists, they're always like you have to exercise to like re-strengthen your heart and kind of I don't know, retrain your nervous system for exercise, but like I was so just like malaised and heavy. Everything was aching, and I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to like start doing cardio, and I literally feel like I have the flu every single day. And plus it was so, like during the summertime, the heat, I stopped sleeping because I would just wake up like drenched in sweat. Um, my body couldn't regulate like temperature anymore. And yeah, like that combination of being really fatigued but not being able to sleep. So yeah, but I found you like a few weeks into that. It was last April, and I got your book, and I just was like really interested in the diet because I come from like Slavic background, so like soups and like sauerkraut and beets is just like it's not like anything strange to me, and it made sense because like my mom, I grew up with my mom like making homemade soups and stocks. And I was like, yeah, if we eat that when we're sick, like if I do that every single day, maybe it will like change, it has to do something. So yeah, the diet made sense to me, and I was just like excited to work with you because I knew that you would understand the nervous system and how like ambiguous the symptoms are, but like how debilitating they are too. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Natalie, for sharing your story. And I just want to honored how much you've struggled on and off since you were young. And this is something that happens a lot as people start getting these dysautonomia or POT symptoms when they're a teenager, right? So you grow up struggling with your health and struggling with your nervous system. And that's
Yeah.
it's such a tragic thing and it's such a difficult thing to weather. And so thank you for sharing vulnerably everything that you went through and how it was just kind of one thing after another that just made your health crash. And I'm so glad that you found me too and came to work with me. And I loved that you were like, oh yeah, this is just how my family eats, like maybe there's something to this.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would love you to share a bit about um you went through immune resilience and you also went through our more advanced SOAR program as well. You opted to just like go all in. I thought that was so great and just do it
Mhm.
all. So I'd love you to share a bit about working with us and what you felt like were the most helpful things that you feel like made the biggest impact in your healing journey.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously the diet. Um, I mean, it was, difficult at first. I mean, I was already eating like I said, I kind of grew up eating that way. I mean, obviously I grew up on like a standard American diet and like I ate food at school and like, processed food, but like um I just had like the knowledge of like, how animal-based eating was healthy for you. And so definitely that helped a lot, and I noticed pretty soon into it. I mean, there was some troubleshooting with like, die off, I think, and my gallbladder too, because I couldn't really digest fat. Yeah.
I was going to mention that. I think that's important because a
Yeah.
lot of people will come to this kind of diet and they'll say, well, I'm having gallbladder issues. I can't do it. And you were such a trooper and that you were having pretty bad gallbladder issues when we first started. And we just worked around it and tried to support it until you were able to get through that. And then pretty soon you were just all in. So those kinds of things you can overcome.
Yeah, they like told me because I think I did have gallstones, and then I think I passed them, but they were like, yeah, you can have your gallbladder taken out, and I was like, I'm good. Like I just don't trust that happening. And you had a solution right away for that, and that definitely, I don't know, it was so interesting also to know that like those issues are like so connected to SIBO and like the fat digestion. I don't know. That was just like so interesting to me to know like how connected it was, and like it's not just like, oh, you can just like get your organ removed, and like that's so crazy to me. Like they're just not, identifying how like the bacteria in the gut is affected by like your fat digestion and so forth. So yeah.
Absolutely. And you did end up passing all those gallstones, right? You ended up, I think,
Yeah.
what was there, like one left by the time you were
Yeah.
done? Is that right? Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Um
So I mean, because so many people don't think that you can do that naturally. So what a beautiful testament to how the body can just heal itself. Yeah.
yeah. And then I just like noticed with the diet also. Again, I did have die off for a few months, maybe like 4 months, I think. or even 5, I'm not sure. Um, but after that, like my stomach just like felt like it just started feeling like normal every single day. Like no bloating. Oh my gosh, I used to be so bloated I couldn't even like wear. I would like stress so much about like what to wear to school because it was like everyone was wearing high-waisted pants. At this time I was like I can't like wear high-waisted pants. Like I'm so bloated. Um Everything hurt my stomach, like no matter what, even if I just ate like rice, like my stomach hurt. But I didn't like understand the bacteria, how that like feeds. Like if you have SIBO, obviously like rice and oatmeal is gonna feed the bacteria. Um, so yeah, just like my stomach again, it just started feeling normal, and that was insane to me because every single day I'd wake up and my stomach would hurt. I'd be like, what type of bowel movement is it gonna be today? Um, and I know it's like a joke how like, oh yeah, like girls have such bad stomach issues, and that's like a joke with my friends, but like it's not like you don't have to like deal with that. Like we're not supposed to have like IBS. We're not supposed to have like all of these stomach issues, but it really is correlated to like the food that we're eating. So, yeah, just having no stomach pain, no bloating, and just like normal bowel movements was absolutely insane to me. Um, so yeah. And then obviously like the nervous system work, we kind of deep dived on that. My nervous system was definitely like super dysregulated just from, I don't know, existing in this world. And yeah, so we worked pretty closely, like doing parts work. And then also just I kind of like did like a little schedule for myself every day based on like the immune resilience, like nervous system practices. And I was pretty strict with that every single day, to try to like get my body, which my body felt so imbalanced with like not being able to sleep and stuff like that, and just, waking up at the same time every day and like doing the meditations, doing like the EFT tapping, and doing that like over and over and over again every single day really like helped. So yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It can just be simple things, but it's the consistency and the repetition, and you just really dedicated yourself to recognizing that it wasn't going to be a quick fix. You had to really go in and like retrain your nervous system after a lifetime of stress and dysregulation. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
And like now, I mean, I'm not gonna say like I never have a bodily sensation or I never get like anxious, but I know so much more and like how to like train that part of my body to not like, I don't know how to explain it. Like to be able to like calm myself more after I have like something triggering or um yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can go into that a little bit just in terms of what life looks like for you now, not even a year in. So yeah, obviously there's still room to keep healing. But I would love for you to share like what is possible in under a year on these protocols.
yeah. So I actually just traveled. Yeah, no, I didn't tell you before this. I was like waiting to say it in the interview, but I did. I ended up traveling to internationally to Scotland, and I was just like fine, which is crazy to me. But I didn't have, I mean, I maybe like I do get anxious on planes, but like I just was able to like listen to calming music, and I really didn't feel like sick anymore. I think that's like the biggest thing where because like you can have, tachycardia or like a fast heart rate and that's fine, but for me this time last year I just felt so like heavy and malaise that like not having that feeling anymore and like being able to like walk around a lot um is super crazy. Like I can't even like believe that I was just like couch bound this time last year, honestly. And another thing is again, like I said, a lot of cardiologists they push exercise for POTS and dysautonomia, which it is definitely really important, I think, but I know like exercise intolerance is a huge thing. Again, with like I definitely had like the post-exertion malaise when I first started exercising, but I think like doing the diet and having all of like the nutrients from that and like the meats helped me like build up the muscle and build up like my endurance very slowly. Um, like to get to the point where I can just do like normal cardio now and not feel like dead after. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it's like all these different things. You can see how they work together now. Like, yes, the exercise and the conditioning is important, but if you're not doing it with this diet that is re-nourishing you and you're not doing it with the nervous system works that allows you to calm yourself when you're getting triggered, none of that is going to work as well in isolation. And you just brought it all together.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful. Well, anything else you want to say about how you're doing now, or what's on the horizon for you?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'm still like following the protocols, honestly, and I think if um like I have to say like any advice to anyone, just like it's like a lot of patience and you kind of have to like go in with blind faith. I know a lot of people are like, these conditions don't have cures, which I mean, there's a lot of things that don't have cures, like the common cold doesn't have a cure. But it's just like taking care of your body in a different way. And yeah, I'm planning on going back to school in a few months. And I just feel like I have like a lot more trust in my body than I did, when I was just like doing functional medicine. And I know what to do now, like if I get a symptom or if I, get a flare up or something. So yeah.
Beautiful. That's such a wonderful, inspiring way to end. Thank you so much, Natalie. This was beautiful.
Of course.